Good day, fellow Jersey Nerds, and welcome to episode 87 of the Jersey Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and today on the Nerdcast, we're going to be looking at the Boston Bruins' apparent leaked jersey, their what looks to be their alternate jersey for 2019-20. We're also going to be doing fake or authentic, where Hulkmania may or may not come up. And then Throwback Throwdown, we have Pucky versus an icon for Throwback Throwdown this week. So that should be very interesting. And joining me to go through all this are Shawn and Beepo. Shawn, you're struggling to make it through, but you're here. What's going on?
Funny story. I got home from work and thought I'd take a nap. I'd been up since about 5:30, and I woke up and it was 10 p.m. and they were setting off fireworks.
Fireworks for the Canadian civic holiday? What's it called out east?
In Halifax, it's called Natal Day.
Okay, because I know in BC it's BC Day, and in Ontario it's just civic holiday.
I still call it civic holiday, the proud Ontarian I am. I honestly didn't even know Natal Day and civic holiday were the same thing until today, and I'm working it, so it's not really a holiday for me.
Oh,
and fun fact, it's out in Halifax at least, it's a half day for almost everyone unless you're like a government employee or, you don't work for a big company.
Of course.
So you'd think that would mean that, people would just not come in, right?
Obviously not.
No, because the store's closing early. And there's this weird phenomenon in Halifax, and maybe other places, but I don't remember being this bad in Toronto, where it's just like if a store's closing early, that's a reason to go to the store.
It's a mad rush. You never know what you might need.
Right? Like I don't remember growing up. I don't remember my parents being like, "Oh wow, store closes at 6 today instead of 8. Oh, I better get out there."
In America, this holiday is called the 4th of August. It's the 4th of July for people who missed it.
Who are a little late to the party.
Aw, darn, it's the 5th of July. I missed it. Oh, well, better wait till August.
You got a big Monday planned, Beepo?
No.
No.
I would say a lot of driving, but I'm not going to be the one driving. So a lot of sitting in a car that's moving.
Well, you're on vacation right now. How's that going?
You forgot to intro me, Ryan. Come on.
Oh, hey, Beepo, what's going on?
Just recording a podcast in Ocean City, Ryan. How about you?
It doesn't sound like I'm as good as you. I didn't know. I mean, being ignorant and from Canada, I wasn't aware of what Ocean City, Maryland was. So as soon as you mentioned it, I had to go look it up.
Ocean City, New Jersey, but I'm in the Maryland one.
Uh-oh. I hope I wasn't looking at the New Jersey one. What's the one that looks like a man-made beach out in the middle of the water?
I have no idea.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. Well,
I've been to the boardwalk, and we ate seafood and played mini golf and other stuff like that, and yeah.
Well, that could still be New Jersey. That doesn't help, Beepo.
I don't know, man. That's all. I'm just telling you what I've done.
Beepo's 95% confident that he's in Maryland, though.
I won a Washington Capitals basketball in an attempt to win a basketball jersey. I missed both shots, and for some reason, she gave me a basketball anyways. And they didn't have anything Penguins, so I picked the hockey thing.
And you got the Caps. Way to go.
Yep, I mean, if it was Flyers, I would have said no. But Capitals, I don't hate them. I don't like them, but I don't hate them.
At least if you have to chuck the ball at someone in a fit of frustration, it won't be a big deal.
Well, they'll probably miss the mark a little bit unless it's 2018.
Good one. All right, well, I can't say much more is going on around here. I'm getting ready to move, so I'm currently podcasting. Normally, I podcast in my freezing cold basement, so the conditions are obviously ideal. Now I'm podcasting in my freezing cold basement that's nearly empty except for just piles and piles of boxes. So it's rather eerie, and that's pretty much what my life has been and will be for the next week while I get ready to move on up to the east side, to the deluxe apartment in the sky. Nope. Nothing?
Nothing. No, I got it.
All right, well, we're all here. Let's get started. Okay, this week we're going to be talking about the leaked Boston Bruins jersey. This was leaked on Reddit and also earlier on Twitter by a user who goes by the handle MAObama69. Hell of a handle there. They've taken pictures, tweeted them at Aesthetics and sportslogos.net of what appears to be what's going to be the Boston Bruins alternate jersey for the 2019-20 season. So if you want to take a look at this jersey, you can find it and all the show notes for the episode on jerseynerdspodcast.com. We have a black jersey, and they're going to be using the same B logo from the 2019 Winter Classic, the letter B with the outline. So it's going to be a gold color B, white outline. And then we have a very basic striping pattern. It's a thick gold stripe, and underneath that is a thick white stripe that happens on both the arms and the hem of the jersey. We don't have a look of what the numbers will look like yet. And one of the more interesting things here is that it's the retro kind of half knitted collar, I guess you could say, which we've only seen to this point in the Winter Classic. Looks like it's going to be making a move to a full-time alternate jersey here. So this jersey looks to be based on a white jersey that the Bruins wore between 1939 and 1948. Again, you can take a look at that on jerseynerdspodcast.com. This is definitely going to have some thoughts about this. I'm a little underwhelmed, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think. Beepo, let's start on the positives here.
Honestly, I'm a pretty big fan of this jersey. I mean, it's simple. It's not something we've necessarily seen before. It has a really nice vintage look to it, and again, it's not a direct throwback. It's based on the beautiful Winter Classic jersey that they had. It is interesting too to see that knit collar make a comeback in something that's not a Winter Classic. And I'm also glad that they used black on it. I would have preferred lighter brown, but I'd take the black over the dark brown they had on that Winter Classic jersey. At first, we thought it was that dark brown, and once we discovered it was black, I was very glad to see that. And overall, it's a pretty solid design.
Yeah, the Bruins seem hesitant to go with a full brown jersey, which I would just like to see, just to see how it looks. I don't know if it'd be better than a black jersey, but they seem to be holding back on that. But Shawn, positives with this leaked Bruins jersey?
I've been asking for this jersey for a while, to be honest, so I'm kind of happy with it. This is an era in Bruins history, I think, that up until, literally last Winter Classic was largely ignored. I do believe that, this does complete 1948-49 as the Bruins have now thrown back to both jerseys in some way and shape and form.
I think this might be a little underwhelming to me just because of what we saw in the 2019 Winter Classic, and because they're using the same logo, naturally I'm going to make comparisons between the two. And when the Winter Classic one was had so much detail going on there and just a really cool look to it and a lot happening in a good way, and then you go to this, which just seems... What I see from it, and it might just be because I work at a jersey company, is a stock jersey with the letter B thrown on it. I know it's doing some digging. It's based on jerseys from their past, a white jersey albeit, and this is a black jersey. But standing alone, it looks like just a regular stock jersey. So I do hope that there's something else to go with it. Maybe the numbers and the font on the back will jazz it up a little bit. But I think that's mostly why I'm underwhelmed about this jersey. But Beepo, what are some of your negatives?
Before we get into the negatives, just a little side note that I actually wouldn't be surprised at all to see the exact same numbers as that Winter Classic jersey, except, recolored to match. I mean, it seems like it would be really fitting, right?
Yeah, agreed.
So I think we could probably make a safe guess on exactly how it's going to look, save for the gear. But for the negatives, I don't have that many with this one. I could maybe say yellow on white, but I think it works fine here. And it's maybe borderline plain. Again, it might look better with the numbers, but this one might really benefit from a yoke kind of similar to the 1944 to 48 design. I think that would help a little bit, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. And again, I think it would have been a lot better in a lighter brown, not like a light brown, but just lighter than that dark brown, if that makes any sense. Like a kind of like what they used to wear on some of their oldest jerseys. Other than that, I'm a pretty big fan of it.
Shawn, some negatives on this one?
I think that every sort of negative that I have with this jersey is a what I would have preferred. You know, I can't really fault this. Like, I mean, is it plain? Of course. Is it a little boring? Yeah. Everything else that I would have wanted from this is sort of like, well, I would have liked that they did this, and honestly, we have to go, oh no, that's not how jersey design works. But I guess I'll get into it. The 2016 alternate had a fantastic logo. Used brown really nicely, and that alternate, I think, was probably the best one the Bruins have ever had. So looking at that, I think what they should have done is taken the logo from that, put it on this, and then use the 44 to 48 yoke.
I think a yoke definitely would have added to this jersey. It would have been something, and then it just would have livened it up a little bit. So I agree with you on that one. So just the last black jersey that we saw the Bruins wear, apart from their usual one that they wear, was the, I believe, 2016 Winter Classic when they played the Canadiens, and then they wore that jersey a few more times, and that had the full bear on the front, very retro logo. I think it goes even past this 39 to 48 style design. So looking at this and looking at that, which one is better? Just make a choice overall. I'm choosing the 2016 Winter Classic. I thought that was top-notch all the way around. And there was actually a secondary spoked B logo that looked like stitching, which didn't really see a lot of action from that set, which I really would have liked to have seen at some point. But I prefer the 2016 Winter Classic to this one. Beepo, just comparing the two, which one do you prefer?
My current answer is also going to be 2016, but it's a very close one. Like, honestly, ask me in 5 minutes, I may have changed my mind. But part of the reason I say that also might be because we have seen this jersey in 2 pictures so far, and both of them are home photography photos taken from a cell phone, more than likely. And it's also of the Fanatics version of the jersey. So seeing it on a player or with a better presentation, I might change my mind a lot. It might be more likely that I change my mind on it.
Yeah, there's definitely more to see here. Still some information to come out, which is, I guess, good from the Bruins' standpoint. The whole thing hasn't been blown, so they still have a chance to come out with some new information. But Shawn, comparing the 16 Winter Classic and this alternate, which one do you prefer?
Oh, 16, 17 by far. That's one of my favorite jerseys to come out in this decade. I think it's one of the best jerseys the Bruins have ever had. That isn't to say that there aren't improvements to be made. I mean, obviously, they should have used that stitched false color spoke B logo. And honestly, you slap that on this jersey, looks great.
Yeah.
But, again,
absolutely.
I haven't seen it on the ice. I mean, they come out in canvas gear. Maybe it looks really good. Yellow helmet, I don't know, looks good.
I don't know about a yellow helmet. Like, that's 80s.
I'm not sure a yellow helmet would work too well with any jersey that isn't yellow. Like, I love it on the Predators, I love it with the Penguins yellows, but I'm not sure it would work with a black jersey, honestly.
Funny thing with the Predators jersey, when they switched to that yellow helmet full time, I was kind of like, oh man, because I think they were using it just occasionally throughout the year. I was like, oh, this is going to be too much yellow. But now when I go back and look at when they wore their gold jersey with the navy helmet, it's like, wow, that's too much navy. So the gold helmet totally works with the Predators, just as a little aside there. But
I completely agree, but I'm not sure I necessarily was so... I'm not sure I disagreed with them changing to the yellow helmet full time. I think I like that idea. But yeah, going back looking at it in navy, it's just like, wow, that does not look nearly as good.
Yeah, they're not owning the gold like they own the gold now. So that's just me being a grumpy old man who doesn't like change, because change sucks. Let's just admit it. Change sucks. Let's
Should we make obligatory
obligatory reference to what?
The Pooh Bear white helmet.
The Bruins, didn't they do that one or two times?
A couple of times, yeah, but it was a regular season game. This wasn't like when the original Jets wore a red helmet with the blue jersey. That was in the preseason. No, this was in actual games.
Oh, I thought the Jets also did that because I'm pretty sure I was at a game at Maple Leaf Gardens and the Jets were wearing red helmets with blue jerseys. I might be wrong though.
Let's check the NHL uniform database to see if a red helmet comes up. What year would this have been?
I want to say it was the lockout 94-95 season. I might be wrong on that as well.
Yeah. No, they did. You're right. I'm wrong. No, you're right.
Look at that.
Wow, that Bruins.
Wow.
The white helmet.
Look at that.
What season was it with the Jets?
The Jets wore a red helmet in 94-95, the lockout shortened season. It did not help them. They finished 6th place and won 16 of 48 games.
That's right.
But that was Thomas Steen's last year, I believe, with the Jets.
Yeah, I was too busy looking up the Pooh Bear with a white helmet while you guys were talking about that. And wow, does that not look good?
No, it's awful. It's a picture of Ray Bourque, I believe, is the most popular picture.
That's the one that I see here.
With a Google
white helmets
search.
do not work very well with jerseys that are not white.
Who thought that was okay?
The red helmet doesn't look that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad for the Jets. No, the blue was better.
It's fun. You know what? It's fun.
How about?
It's almost weird how if you're like just at your local rink, or like watching an amateur league, like a youth league, you have kids wearing like white helmets and black and all different colors, and it looks fine. And then you get to the NHL, and one dude wears the wrong color helmet, and it just looks awful.
Well, that Ray Bourque picture very much looks like he's skating in a beer league game. There just happens to be a lot of people there. But anyways, let's get to...
Could you consider every NHL game a beer league game, considering that they all serve beer at the rinks?
It's not a beer league, though.
Considering that all the players probably drink beer at some point in their lives.
No.
Right,
Go ahead,
it's
Shawn.
It's a Detroit-Ottawa game. That's a beer league game.
In April.
Oh.
Game number 81 of the season. They're both 21 points out of the playoffs. That might be a beer league game. Or as they call them, no hitters, because no one hits anyone. Just play it safe, boys. We don't need anyone getting hurt tonight. But all right, let's get back to the leaked Bruins jersey.
I forgot we were talking about that.
Yeah, that got off the rails, but that was
shows how memorable that jersey is.
It was a good chat still. So let's rate this jersey out of 10. I think it's fairly obvious that our ratings are subject to change because we haven't seen the Adidas version and we have not seen what the equipment or the numbers are going to be with this jersey. So let's rate it just based on the leaked images that we've seen. Go ahead, Beeple.
I'm going to give it an 8 right now. And for some reason, it also kind of gives me like a 70s or 80s vibe, depending on the way I look at it. Is that just me?
No, I can understand that. I think it's the simplicity, but also the big blockiness of the stripes. Shawn, your rating out of 10. Beeple throws it an 8. Your rating of the leaked images of the jersey.
I just have to give it a solid 7 in that I see a lot of ways this can go up, and I think of a couple it can go down. So, let's consider that. And, there's a lot of potential here, but on the other hand, when you get down to it, at the end of the day, when you got something this plain, it can go the route of like the 2016 All-Star jerseys, or it can go the route of not the 2016 All-Star jerseys.
I'm worried that because it's so plain, it could be very much like the 2008 Bruins alternate jersey, which was just painfully plain. It just had the 3 stripes on both arms, and then the kind of shaped domed logo, I guess you could call it, with the modern domed logo with the full bear inside. That was extremely plain. It was painfully plain. This one's not as plain, but still plain, and I'm worried that it could lose a lot of its flavor after the first year. So at this point, I'm going to give it what's going to end up being its average rating amongst us. I'm giving it a 7.5, and I hope that the rating moves up once we see some sort of official release here or some Adidas images of the jersey. I think, and seeing the numbers, I think, could also help it, or it could heard it. We don't know. So a lot to be answered here on this Bruins jersey, but still more to come, and we'll definitely keep our eye out for it.
Brown numbers.
It worked. It worked with the bear because bears are brown. Beats Bears Battlestar Galactica. Anyways, bears are brown. Why am I explaining that bears are brown? Everyone knows bears are brown, except for a black bear.
I get that reference now.
Have you just dug into The Office?
Just a couple weeks ago, I downloaded all the episodes. Well, maybe not a couple weeks ago. Probably about a month or so ago at this point.
Oh, not bad.
I'm like partway through season 8 now.
Okay. Now it's going to take a downturn. Obviously, after Michael leaves, we could do a podcast just talking about The Office, but obviously after Michael leaves, it starts going downhill, and then by the final,
the short-lived tenure of D'Angelo Vickers until he died, basically. I honestly didn't think he actually died. Isn't he like in a coma? In the show or something like that.
No, doesn't he hurt himself trying to dunk
He tried to dunk a basketball. The hoop fell on him, and then he just never came back.
Yeah.
I think they said in some episode something about him dying, but I think I looked it up and it said somewhere that he was just in a coma or something.
My favorite moment from that is when, and I can't listen to Evanescence ever without thinking about Will Ferrell doing the juggling act. But he won't walk down to his car to get his juggling balls because he's too lazy. I'll just pretend, and then he just pretends to start juggling. That's the top notch of that. Anyway, so again, we're off track from the Bruins jersey. Now we're talking about The Office, but let's move on to fake or authentic. Fake or authentic? Fake or authentic, this is the part of the podcast where I give 3 statements, but it's up to our co-hosts, Beepo and Shawn, to determine whether or not those statements are fake or authentic, just like the jerseys you see around NHL arenas. Here we go. Fake or authentic, number 1. The 2008 Capital Blue Colorado Avalanche alternate jersey was an underrated jersey. Beepo, fake or authentic?
I'm going to say fake, not because it's a bad jersey, but at least from what I recall, it was never a jersey that was praised very much, but it was also never a jersey that was hated very much. And honestly, I think that's about right for it. It's a decent jersey. It would be better without those pit stains, and if it had hem striping, then I'd think it was a really nice jersey, and then I'd say it was underrated. But as it is, it's just okay and doesn't really deserve a high praise. It doesn't deserve to be shit on. It's kind of right where it belongs, I think.
What if I gave this jersey an 8, which I would? Am I overrating it or underrating it?
I would probably go 7 for it.
Okay.
It's really close to being a really good jersey, but it's just not quite there. It had the Reebok treatment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that obviously that cuts into a lot of people. The pit stains. I think the arm stripes are cut off by some of the stitching, and then of course a wordmark logo is always a tricky thing. Shawn, fake or...
I don't really have a problem with the wordmark logo. It's just everything else. Like if you get rid of the pit stains, continue the arm stripes, put hem stripes on. Honestly, I might give it a 9 because it's really nice with the night navy blue, the capital blue base as well.
And I think
to differentiate it from the other Avalanche jerseys.
Yeah, I think the black equipment also really helped that blue pop and look fantastic. Shawn, fake or authentic, the 08 Avalanche alternate jersey was an underrated jersey.
Oh, 100% authentic on this one. I mean, I have a really big soft spot for this because I think I don't know. Point is it was one of the first jerseys I ever bought, period. Remember, I ordered it online from Jersey City back when that was a thing before they got bought by Lids, and I look at it. I think it's a perfect jersey. There's nothing I'd change about it because anything I change about it at that point, it just becomes a new alternate. The fact that it was the first Colorado blue jersey, that gorgeous maroon yoke. I have been a fan of Colorado having a script jersey for years. I even like the black. I like the black pit stains to a point. I think it fits in with the time that they came out, and frankly, it was already that off season was a pretty solid year for alternates. So this was still probably the best one to come out that off season. So yeah, I think that it got overshadowed fairly quickly by the Rockies alternate, and moreover, it was when the team was terrible. So that's the only thing against it.
Yeah, and I misspoke. It's actually the 2009 alternate, and the 2008 they did not have an alternate. So they went 2 years after the Reebok Edge before they had an alternate. So it's the 2009 alternate, but that doesn't change. That doesn't change anybody's thoughts. Fake or authentic number 2. Here we go. We're talking in the kitchen now, and I've seen this way too many times, and it absolutely drives me nuts. So I think most people are going to agree with me on this one, but there is the occasional person who does this thing and just drives me nuts. So here we go. Fake or authentic. When cooking bacon, one should place the bacon in the pan piece by piece rather than just dropping in the whole batch at the same time. Beepo, fake or authentic?
I have no idea, man. I don't cook very much. Especially bacon in a pan.
Not even bacon? You haven't even seen bacon being cooked in your lifetime where you could formulate an opinion?
I've seen it, but I don't really know what the difference is between doing, one or the other in that case.
Well, if you've ever had bad bacon, it's because someone dropped the whole batch in at one time.
I feel like that's potentially opinionated.
It might be a little biased, but seeing as you don't have an opinion on this, you should just take my opinion.
Or I can take the opposite opinion.
All right.
Depends on how much I trust you.
Fine. The first time you ever cook bacon, you just drop the whole batch in there and just start scrambling it up.
How many is a batch?
A pack, whatever.
I was gonna say if it would cut if it would be more than what covers the pan, like if it would be overlapping itself, then okay, sure.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
These people that I've seen, they just drop a whole pack in, and we're talking 15 pieces of bacon there, maybe, and then they just
never mind. Authentic then. If you can have 3 or 4 in the pan at a time, probably, as long as they're not overlapping each other, right?
Are you a crispy bacon guy, or do you like some chew to your bacon?
I'm kind of right in the middle. I don't like it to be completely crispy, but I don't like it to be completely chewy.
Okay, fair enough.
I like it to have a slight crisp.
All right, that's pretty good. Shawn, where do you land on this? Fake or authentic?
I land completely, authentic on this one. And it should be noted that oven bacon really is the best bacon. I think we can all agree on that.
Yes.
But oven bacon, I will admit, is actually kind of a hassle. You have to lay it out strip by strip on the pan, and then you have to put it in the oven, and then you have to wait, and you can't even watch it or just flip it around every 30 seconds or so. You have to be patient. And, with some things I can be very patient, with other things I can't. Bacon's one of those things I don't particularly like being patient with. On the other hand, it just depends on how much you're cooking and how big your pan is. But at the same time, at least when you put the whole pack in the pan, break it up in the pan.
Just don't put the whole pack in the pan. Just don't.
And just leave it there.
No. Like the whole pack cannot go in the pan.
No.
My wife has a friend who does that, and we were invited over to their house, and we stayed over, and they promoted this big breakfast that they were going to make, and then you just walk past the kitchen, and you see them with a whole package of bacon, and they're kind of shaking it up with the wooden spoon. You're like, oh man, that is going to be curly, chewy bacon that's not crispy in any way, and that's exactly what it was. Not good. So, anyways,
yeah, no. Yeah. Also, crispy bacon is the best.
Oh, when you just when you get it perfect, there's something extremely satisfying about that.
Ryan, what's your rating out of 10 on their bacon?
On the bacon that I ate that day, that's a 3, and that's a waste of bacon, and that's really disappointing. I can cook
Shawn, what's your rating on that bacon that Ryan ate that day?
I don't know. I make my own bacon. I am a self-reliant, home-cooked man. I am a self-reliant man who don't need no woman. So I can make my own bacon, and it's pretty damn good. I won't lie. My secret is...
That doesn't help me, Shawn. I need to get a number so I can average it out like Ryan does with all the jerseys.
All right, fine. Let me explain this very carefully.
Now, hold on.
In Halifax.
You're rating the bacon that I ate that day 6 years ago.
Yeah, I live in Halifax. 6 years ago, I was in high school.
Yeah? How was that bacon?
How was that bacon? I was having my own bacon, my mother's bacon, which is almost as good as mine.
Kevin Bacon?
Oh, boo.
Womp, 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 womp.
Boo.
I couldn't resist.
Nobody can resist Kevin Bacon. Okay. All right. We went from one of my favorite things, which is bacon, to another one of my favorite things, which is 1980s wrestling. And I know you guys really weren't alive in the 80s, but just come up with an opinion on this regardless. I'm sure you've read about history. So in the 1980s, Hulkmania was a bigger brand than the Canadiens, Rangers, and Maple Leafs. Beepo, fake or authentic?
I honestly don't know how you expect me to answer this. Like you said, I was not alive anywhere close to the 80s.
You're aware of what Hulkmania was.
And I'm also aware of what the Canadiens, Rangers, and Maple Leafs are.
And how bad the Rangers and Maple Leafs.
I have no idea how popular any of them were at the time.
Why don't you just create an opinion?
Then I'll say fake because I like hockey better.
There you go. Way to go, people.
That's all I can really say for this one.
Way to climb off that fence. Shawn, you're a bit of a wrestling fan, so I know you can help answer this. In the 1980s, Hulkmania was a bigger brand than the Canadiens, Rangers, and Maple Leafs. Fake or authentic?
Like during the 80s, like the 80s Rangers, the 80s Habs, and the 80s Maple Leafs.
84 to 88, Hulkmania, bigger brand.
Oh, God. Authentic to a T. I think the only hockey teams that would have been bigger than Hulkmania, the Oilers.
I don't know. They were still in Edmonton. It's not like Edmonton's a massive city.
No, but I mean, actually, should say
now?
in 88 the Kings, because
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so at the tail end, so we know what ended it. But I mean, you have to look at it like this. Like think of all the Hulkmania products that existed.
I had Hulkmania pinball, little home pinball machine. Yeah.
Like there was no Rick V, Mike Palmetier pinball. There was no.
If there was, I would have that. Oh my goodness.
If there was, we'd all have it. But there's no. Shoot.
John Van Beesbrook pinball.
John Van Beesbrook, Don Maloney pinball, or there's none of that. There's no Steve Shutt, Patrick Waugh pinball. Again, for all I know, these things exist.
Someone has customized their Hulkmania pinball machine and just like pasted over it with their own picture, with their own.
Well, Shawn, now you have your own entrepreneurial idea.
I have a colleague, 80s. Which, by the way, if you weren't an Oilers fan in the 80s, it sucked because your team couldn't win. So, it's probably largely a forgettable decade in hockey, let's be real.
If you weren't an Islanders, Oilers, Canadiens, or Flames fan, your team sucked in the 80s.
Well, the Kings weren't bad.
They still never made a cup final or won a cup.
Hey, again, the thing is that the jerseys were beautiful. There were so many great teams, and the stupid Oilers won.
It would have been hard to beat them. Anybody.
It was so easy to beat them. It was so easy to beat them. Here's what you did. Here's how you beat the Oilers. Offer them a really crappy trade for their best player to get him off the books.
No, Shawn. Peter Chiarelli didn't come until a couple years ago.
It was so difficult to beat the Oilers. You could be like, okay, we went out there and we had an awesome night. We scored 7. And the Oilers would be like, yeah, we scored 10.
Yeah, okay, sure. But, I'll again, now, I'm no Wayne Gretzky fan, as everybody knows. So I'm going to say this. The Oilers were truly unbeatable in 1990 when they won without him.
That's true. That may have been. That's a more complete team and a more whole team.
That was the better Oilers team, bar none.
Might have been. Yeah.
Messier's Oilers were better than Gretzky's Oilers because they didn't have to spend the whole game protecting Gretzky.
Plus, they also had Bill Ranford instead of Grant Fuhrer that year, and he ends up being the Conn Smythe.
You could argue Bill Ranford was a better goalie than Grant Fuhrer.
Maybe in a single season.
Yeah. Like, if you had to pick one Edmonton Oilers goalie for the all-time roster.
I'm still picking Fuhrer just based on career.
Ben Scrivens.
Ben Scrivens.
Grant Fuhrer is a Blues great, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that's because you grew up in the 90s. Jeez.
No, I grew up in the early 2000s. I grew up when Chris Osgood was on the Blues, and then later Manny Legacy.
Manny Legacy, beauty.
One-time All-Star.
All right, going back to the Hulkmania thing, it would be great to hear what the listeners think. Was Hulkmania bigger in the 80s than the Canadiens, Rangers, and Maple Leafs? Let us know by emailing us, jerseynerdspodcast@gmail.com. And if we get some great emails, we'll read them next week here on the podcast. But now it's time to move on to Throwback Throwdown. Throwback Throwdown returning this week is our champion, the 1983-84 Hartford Whalers green jersey, and the challenger this week, the 2002 New York Rangers white jersey. This one was picked, had a bit of a discussion with Beepo before we started recording here. This one was picked, it's just the 2002 Rangers jersey, because that's the picture that's up on jerseynerdspodcast.com. Right now, you can also find a picture of the Whalers jersey. So 2002 is the reason why that year was picked, just because that's the picture that we have. The idea here is that this is the white Rangers jersey with the lace-up collar, and it's not a distinct collar. It's just a very simple classic collar. It's not a Reebok Edge collar. It's not an Adidas collar. So that is the reasoning for this Rangers jersey to be chosen. The title of this matchup is Pucky versus an Icon. Again, you can go on over to jerseynerdspodcast.com to check out what these jerseys look like. The Whalers jersey we've gone over before. So the Rangers jersey, let's take a look at that. And it's pretty much the Rangers jersey they wear now. 3 stripes on the sleeves and the hem. It's red in the middle and royal on the top and bottom. And then the yolks are the extremely classic New York Rangers yoke. It's a blue yoke, and we have a white outline, red outline, white outline, blue outline. Again, it's better if you take a look at the photos, but it's a squared yoke. It's a classic Rangers jersey. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you know what it looks like. So
it's literally just the current Rangers jersey in the 90s.
Exactly. There you go. Except it's 2002.
Yeah, right. I'm looking at the NHL uniforms page because the years are like 99 to 2007. So
that's correct. They started using this version of the jersey in 99. So the vote was put out across Twitter, and people were able to vote on jerseynerdspodcast.com. The results were 67% to 33% in favor of the champion, the Hartford Whalers. So they get one vote on the board thanks to the listeners. Beepo, let's go to you for your review of the Rangers jersey and your winner.
This Rangers jersey is, like you said, an icon. It's an icon living. That was a reference to Jaden Smith, by the way. I shouldn't have said that. That kind of ruined it. But anyways, it's a very classic design. There's not too many other jerseys that are as classic as this one. You mean maybe the Rangers home, or Hurricanes. Not the Hurricanes. The Canadians is who I'm thinking of there. You got a nice simple striping pattern that's consistent throughout the arms, the hem, the sock, even the shoulders. The pants I really like how they're red and they kind of break everything up, and they have that unique pants design. And you've got, of course, the classic Rangers script and the classic, drop shadow and the arch name and everything like that. But despite how good of a jersey this is, I'm going to give it to the Whalers again, mainly just for the unique green color that it has on it. And they're both really nice classic jerseys, but going to give it to the Whalers on uniqueness.
Okay, Shawn, your thought on the Rangers jersey and your winner.
All right, so I mean, it's very rare you see a team come out with a, I guess, iconic white jersey. You could maybe argue Montreal, but again, the red jersey is a little bit more, iconic. But yeah, the Rangers are probably a team that if you stereotypically drew them, you draw them in their white jerseys, and these are absolutely gorgeous. I love the Coho tie down collar. That really, I don't think. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't have been Coho because CCM made the white jerseys. Sorry. So the pre-edge tie down was really something that, it was nice to see it come back. I don't think nearly enough teams did it as much as they could have, but given the era, that's to be expected. And I mean, this is it is one of the untouchable, you can't change this jerseys in NHL history. And I don't know. At the same time, the Rangers were notoriously bad in this era. A different kind of bad. They tried to buy a playoff spot.
They were big spenders, off-season and trade deadlines. It's funny. It's so funny to think about that because their roster is stacked. And if you played any of the video games from this era, the Rangers are like an 88 overall, and then they'd finish with like 80 points. What was this? Lindros, Yager, Messier for a little bit, Leach, Richter, obviously. Bobby Holik was the big contract. So
Minarov, Barnaby, who else was in there? Bure.
Oh, Ray Bure.
Carter.
Yep.
Mike Dunham was the starting goalie for a bit after Richter left, but before Lundqvist. Then you had Dan Blackburn there, Jason LaBarbera. So they had they were stacked. They were supposed to be
Henrik Lundqvist
in 05.
That's true.
He was on the roster
Cabo
in 04.
He never wore this version, Beepo. Know your lane.
Not yet.
Stick in your lane. Not yet. Jeez.
Actually, it's very well possible that the Kako family purchased Capo, a Rangers jersey from this era, and he wore it. So you never know.
So just because you own all those replicas, you wore those jerseys too?
Technically, yes.
All right, Shawn. It's time to choose your winner here. Hartford or New York?
This is such a good-looking matchup, by the way.
This would be a great playoff series.
Oh, yeah. In-game, this is... Oh, man, I'm picturing it now. That's beautiful. I'm going with... I know what? I am going to pick the Rangers.
Okay, we're at 2-1 now. 2 for the Whalers, 1 for the Rangers. I'm looking at this jersey, and when I think of this jersey, it's such a classic jersey. There was no need to ever change it, and they only changed it for the couple years there and then switched right back. This may be the most successful wordmark hockey jersey of all time, and this particular version of it is so incredibly classic. This is just the picturesque version of the White Rangers jersey. The Whalers jersey still looks phenomenal. I think the fantastic logo really carries the Whalers jersey a long way. This Rangers jersey, though, still has a lot of uniqueness to it, especially the shoulders. And for me, it is such a classic hockey jersey that I do have to give my vote to the Rangers. So we do have a 2-2 tie here. But we do have to have a tiebreaker. And I can't help but go to the listeners on this one. And they voted in favor of the Whalers jersey. So because it is the defending champion, because the listeners voted for it, on the tiebreak, the winner and still defending champion, the 83-84 Hartford Whalers green jersey is going to move on. And if it wins again next week, we'll move it into the Throwback Throwdown Hall of Fame section, which we haven't done yet. But the Whalers, 1 win away from moving into the Hall of Fame section of Throwback Throwdown. So its final opponent will be up next week. If you have any ideas, let us know. JerseyNerdsPodcast@gmail.com. Who can take out this Whalers jersey? It's its final challenge next week, so let's see how that goes. Just before we start to wrap this up, I've always talked about wanting to bring back the mailbag and in a voicemail edition. So if there is any interest in that, if you think that would be something that would be great for the show, something that you would contribute to, I'm starting to gauge interest now. It'd be something that we have to pay for, but I'd be willing to pay for it if there is a great interest in it. So let us know that you'd be interested in the voicemail mailbag, JerseyNerdsPodcast.com. That is our email address. You can get us anytime on Twitter at JerseyNerdsPod or on the website, JerseyNerdsPodcast.com. That is all we have for you this week. Be sure to subscribe and rate the Jersey Nerds podcast on Apple Podcasts. You'll get notifications when new shows are posted. Thanks to Beepo and Shawn for joining me this week. And thank you to all the Jersey Nerds for listening. Goodbye, everybody.